Welcome to the Even You Can Get Well YouTube channel. My name is Felishia Desjardins and I overcame an 8-year-long battle with Lyme disease and chronic illness. You don't hear too many people say that because Lyme disease is one of the many illnesses and conditions that is considered to be incurable. You're gonna suffer with it forever. Well, I am here to destroy that narrative and prove to you what I tell so many of my clients, that God did an incredible thing when He designed your body. It doesn't randomly forget how to heal, but more often than not, we get in the way of that healing, and circumstances lead to imbalance. So today, I'm going to share my story of battling Lyme disease and chronic illness because I know that there are so many of you out there who are struggling and suffering with your health. You received a diagnosis that seems hopeless. You maybe can't find answers at all to what's going on in your body. And if you are that person, if you are struggling with your health, struggling with your body image, your mental or your spiritual health, this channel is for you. And this story is going to change your whole perspective on the way that you approach your health. So my story, it started when I was 15, and that's when the symptoms started. It was debilitating brain fog and fatigue, severe muscle and joint pain, inability to walk, inability to speak or form sentences at times when the brain fog was really bad, water retention and bloating, digestive issues, and for me that was mainly bloating and constipation, and then ear ringing. And before this, I was a vibrant, active girl, like ready to take on the world. I had my life planned. I knew what I wanted. I was going to start working at 15 to save money to buy my first car at 16. I was even going to put a little bit away each month for retirement. I was thinking ahead. I was an athlete. The plan was to get a scholarship in swimming or running or triathlon, or honestly, it didn't totally matter because I knew I could succeed at any of them. And I wanted to get a scholarship that would cover my kinesiology undergraduate, and that would lead me into chiropractic. Like I said, I knew what I wanted and I knew where I was going. And quite frankly, I was pretty, I was well liked, I was a great student, active member of my church and youth group, a responsible, loving, child to my parents, valedictorian. It was awards, accomplishment, discipline. I had a will to make anything happen. I had it all going for me, as they would say. But as you can imagine, the pressures started to seep in, and by around grades 7 and 8, I developed a pretty severe eating disorder. And by grade 9, I was pushing myself like I was already a professional athlete who was already in university. I trained, I studied, I was disciplined until the summer of grade 9 in high school. 15 years old, and it all came crashing down. By the second semester of that grade 10 year, I actually had to drop out of in-person classes. And that vibrant, athlete could at this point hardly get out of bed. And the driven academic girl, I couldn't even make it through a class, let alone, do or understand or complete my homework. Something was clearly wrong. I knew I was sick, and I could feel that it was pretty severe, but I was raised like any North American. It's no big deal. I'm going to go to the doctors. They're going to do some tests. They're going to give me an answer. I'm going to follow what they say, and I'm going to get well. So went to the doctors, did the testing, but everything looked normal. Nothing wrong. So doctor decided, okay, we'll send you off to the immunologist and just to be sure. So great, booked an appointment. He tested me for mono, positive, boom. To me, I had my answer. He told me, okay, a couple weeks in bed rest, and you'll be back to it in no time. So went home, determined to get well, hopped in bed. 1 week went by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, not much improvement. But at that point, I took what the doctor said. I figured I have to be getting well. I'll just get up, I'll go to school, and everything will be fine, and my energy will come back. Well, I got up, I went back to school, and it wasn't fine. And the energy did not come back. And the symptoms got worse until all I could do at that point was lay in bed. So it was back to the doctors. Only this time we had a bit of a different experience. All of a sudden it was, listen, there's nothing wrong with your daughter. The tests have come back positive. You should probably consider sending her to a psychologist because this is clearly not physical. Many of you will know this, but it's a life-changing experience when all of a sudden you see the institution that you know and were raised to trust and rely on for your health turn you away and say that there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing that we can do, you got to figure this out. But again, I was raised like any North American to believe that if you get sick, you go to the doctors, they give you the answer, all will be well. And when that illusion came crashing down, we felt stunned, like you get the wind knocked out of you. And if I'm being honest, because of the way it started to be handled after that, I even felt a little dirty, like I was doing something wrong or that this was somehow my fault. And more than just feeling cast aside, I also just felt shocked. Shocked that they weren't fighting for me, that they weren't digging for the answers, that this is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to help me. And all of a sudden, the thing that you know to do is no longer an option. And we were on our own. And it was dark and it was scary. We shook off some of the initial shock and kind of got up and went searching. And initially we stayed within the medical system, and we actually found a pediatrician who at the time was actually willing to help us. And around the same time, my mom somehow found this teacher from the States who was blogging her experience with Lyme disease, and her symptoms matched mine, and she talked about the testing and the protocols. So we took that to the pediatrician, and she agreed, something to look into, and sent us off to a functional medical doctor in Michigan. We lived just outside of Windsor. So we took the hit, went over and paid out of pocket to go to this doctor in Michigan, and he did the testing and sent my blood work off to IGeneX Labs in California. That was kind of the gold standard. And a couple weeks later, the diagnosis came back positive with Lyme disease. From there, it was 2 years of strong doses of antibiotics. That didn't work. After that, we tried naturopaths. It was more but different testing protocols and supplements, and that also didn't work. And we went further. We did everything: hyperbaric oxygen treatments, saunas, coffee enemas, detoxing, homeopathic remedies, IV therapies. We tried everything. You're desperate for answers. You're desperate for something to work, but none of them worked. And many of you will understand or know that the desperate longing for the answer, the desperate longing for the diagnosis. And I'll never forget sitting on my bed in my room and just begging God, Lord, give me a cancer diagnosis. Let somebody tell me that I have 4 months left to live, because at least then you can see an end to the suffering. Well, like I said, I finally got the diagnosis, but it didn't bring the answers, and it certainly didn't provide the freedom that I was sure it was going to. We spent years searching for answers, and those years were wrought with isolation and fear and anxiety and hopelessness. And I went from the teenager who had it all together, who had the world at her fingertips, to the teenager trapped in a room and stuck in a bed, watching the world go on without me, watching my friends go off to university or start their lives. And the medical system couldn't help me. My friends and family really didn't know what to think about me. And teachers at that time were either compassionate or volatile. I went from the teenager who totally thought she was in control to the teenager just brought to her knees. But what did grow in that time, as you can imagine, was my faith. And there was a single understanding that kept me going. my trust in God. But even further, like I said at the beginning, I had this understanding that if he designed the body, he did this miraculous thing when he designed the body, and he didn't design it to forget how to heal. So I knew deep down that if there was something going wrong in my body, if there was somehow an imbalance, there was a way to fix it. There was a way to bring it back into balance. That just made sense to me. And I know there are so many people out there like you maybe who can relate to this story, and you've toiled over your health, you have searched relentlessly for answers and can't dig yourself out of the dark pit of health struggles. And I know because I was there. But I'm telling my story now because I am living proof that there is something to look forward to, and that when I say God designed the body to not forget how to heal, that's true. And again, I'm proof of that. That 15-year-old girl who had to spend the next 8 years suffering through health issues is now a 28-year-old thriving woman, married to an amazing man, and I am a women's health coach, practicing or specializing with thyroid health. I'm a certified holistic nutritional consultant and a registered bioenergetic practitioner, and I'm here to share the truth about illness and disease. Quite frankly, I'm here to revolutionize healthcare with a whole lot of Jesus, and I'm inviting you to join me. If you're ready to get well, if you're ready to stop struggling with your health, subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to share so much more than just my story. I'm going to share how I got well and give you the tools and the applications that you can start implementing to change your health like I did. And I'm going to broach the topics that quite frankly, quite honestly, nobody is willing to broach. I'm not just here to tell you to eat better. I'm not just going to give you some cool exercise tips. I am here to bring you a biblical approach to healthcare that I know works because it helped me, and it now helps clients around the world that I work with. So join me, subscribe to this channel so I can see you in the next video. And I want you to remember in the meantime that you are not your diagnosis, that there is hope, and that even you, just like me, can get well.